Excellent. I think we just began our Facebook live stream. So I'm going to just say welcome again to everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to begin this webinar, help all of our business owners, entrepreneurs start growing together, building long-lasting business relationships. Go to the
Thanks,
next
Alexis.
slide. Yeah. For today's agenda, we're going to have a couple discussion points. We're going to have a clear plan for finding and reaching those financial goals. And we're going to we're going to have our proven patented system for investing to show you how you can achieve those goals and how wealth coaching guides and holds you accountable.
Okay. All right, guys. So go ahead.
This is Kimberlee Kennedy. I just want to introduce her. She is the business owner of a real estate investor and wealth coach. She's going to be introducing the webinar and showing you everything great that you need to know. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Kimberlee.
Thanks, Alexis. It's really nice to be here today, and you'll see I'm having some technological kind of things going on. So hopefully we have everything sorted out and we can start the presentation. I'm really excited to be here today. Let's start just with my story, right? And how I found the Income Snowball and I started to create wealth in my own world. I started out as a professional in a traditional career. I was actually an auditor for a Big Four accounting firm. I audited the Las Vegas Strip, which was a lot of fun. But life happened and I moved back to Utah, my hometown, to help take care of my grandma. I became the director for the Bank of Utah. I did not like being in an office all day, and I quickly moved into real estate. If you are owning a business, if you're in real estate, you know, you only get paid when you work. And sometimes those things don't always pan out. So living on commissions sometimes means great months and some lean months. So learning how to create some consistent wealth and income really just from work, I mean, from assets and not work is really how we can start to have a predictable stream of income. And now as a wealth coach, I get to help other people do this with things that align with their life and not just in theory, but in actual strategy. So before we get started, I want to jump in and say this is a quick disclaimer, right? This presentation is for educational purposes only. I am a wealth coach with TARDIS Wealth Strategies. So any investment that we talk about, we do there is no promotion for that investment. Everything here today is meant to educate and empower you to take control of your finances and your situation. So what are we talking about today, right? We're really talking about the income snowball. So Tanisha Souza spent about 6 years in research and development because she knew there had to be a better way that people could live now without having to save and put a whole bunch of money into retirement accounts and then waiting 30 to 50 years to see if it worked or not. So once she started having her spreadsheets and her calculator and working with clients, she was able to get a patent in 2014. And if you've ever tried to get a patent in any type of avenue, it's not always easy to do that. So now we can work with building our plan based on a patent that's just really supported by math. So how does it work? The income snowball works by creating monthly income streams that build upon each other, much like a snowball gains momentum as it rolls downhill. So each new stream adds stability and growth to your financial future. So let's start with your cash flow. Most of us know when cash flow is low, everything else is tight, right? So at the core, the foundation of wealth is cash flow. Income minus expenses and liability equals our disposable cash flow. And we're not necessarily talking about a financial diet or budget, but really just understanding how our money flows. Is it really working towards our highest and best use that it can? Most people only focus on earning more or paying down debt, but real progress happens when you can capture and redirect that cash flow into income producing assets. So that's really what we're looking for, an income producing asset. And what does that look like? So we start with a system. You know, of course, we're familiar with this logo here, right? Why? Because it's a proven system over time. A definition of a system is just a structured, repeatable set of connected parts that work together to produce a predictable result. So in plain terms, right? A system is how you make success repeatable instead of accidental. So the income snowball is really supported by 5 key pillars. A patented system that allows you to map your personalized path, right? We start with your cash flow, we put it into the system, and then the system gives us a date. Coaching. Coaching not only keeps you accountable, but it also keeps you on track. If you've ever tried to implement a new system or a new strategy, you've undoubtedly came up against some roadblocks. And then having someone to talk through those roadblocks, hold your hand, and making sure that you can achieve success is something I think that supports our clients long after they start building their income snowball. And then consistency, right? Anything that is consistent, we can start to see that snowball start to grow. And then your cash flow increases, which allows us to purchase more investments at a discount. Okay. All right, so here is visually what it looks like, right? We rinse and repeat and stack our monthly income each time. So instead of just chasing one big payoff in 20 or 30 years, we're building smaller streams of income that add up over time. So the longer you stay consistent, the faster your income snowball grows. So we're not looking for a home run, right? We're looking for some consistent singles and doubles to get us to our goals. We start with other people's money, not too little, not too much. You want to make sure that it's leveraged at a safe amount. And that's really based on what your cash flow is. And then we may start with a $10,000 line of credit that is going to start paying us $300 each month. We'll leverage a line of credit, pay that back in 1, 2, 3, 4 months, rinse and repeat, and do that again. Now our income snowball is bringing us $600 a month. And we even pay back that leverage account faster in 1, 2, 3 months, rinse and repeat, and try it again. So by the end of your first year, you're already starting to see income coming in, right? We want to have passive income from our investments coming in. Rinse and repeat to start having this. And then it grows over time. You can start to take away monthly cash flow to pay for a vacation, to pay for a rental property. There's so much you can do with this investment strategy. So I guess the one thing that I like to talk about too is as you grow, coaching really helps you to understand how to leverage principal. We want to leverage a line of credit or leverage cash flow, right? We want to make sure we don't use too little or too much to mitigate risk. Also, timing matters, right? Because once we're starting to make these investments, we want to make sure that they can support our income snowball. So your coach will really help you master the timing strategies. And optimizing your cash flow, making sure you're using your cash flow for its highest and best use. And I think my real estate friends will understand that, right? When we look at a property, is this property being used for its highest and best use? And we can look at our cash flow in the same way. Is it going towards its higher and better use so that we can maximize those results? Okay. So one of the most common statements that I hear from our TARDIS clients is, I just wish I would have started sooner. And even after I've had our annual review with one of our clients who happened to lost their job in their first year with TARDIS. Another one was relocated to a different country as part of his military orders. And then another client had lost a spouse. And you can imagine when life happens to us, things get a little sticky. And that's really where having a support of a team comes into place. So the system works, but time is the biggest factor. The earlier you begin, the faster your financial snowball gains more power. I'm going through these slides so fast today, so I think this is going to be a pretty short webinar. I want to make sure that I get in as much information as I possibly can. So what we're going to do now is, let's see. We're going to actually talk to one of my clients. So we're going to have Mackenzie and Cragen. Are they here already? Let me see. Mackenzie.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm here.
Hi, Mackenzie. Okay, can you come on camera for me? I'm going to, there you are. Yay.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
So I've had the privilege of working with Mackenzie and Cragen since they started with TARDIS, and it's been really fun for me to see how you've used the system to grow your cash flow and manage your goals. So thank you for joining me today. And kind of
You're
just tell
welcome.
me how
Sorry,
you
that
found
lighting.
TARDIS.
So we found TARDIS, a friend of a friend. So one of my friends started posting about TARDIS on social media. And I was kind of just like, what in the world? And my husband, Cragen, and I were kind of in a place in our lives where we were like, we were working every hour that we could work, like, and still just barely getting by, just kind of frustrated with our whole situation.
Yeah.
And in fact, probably 2 weeks before we found TARDIS, my husband literally said, there's got to be a better way. Like, there's got to be something better for us. And he's like, I know that this isn't it. So once my friend started posting about TARDIS, I just kind of messaged him and I'm like, hey, tell me about your experience. Tell me about, like, what is this thing? And
Yeah.
so he told me about it. We booked our consultation call like that day.
Yeah.
And we've been running with it ever since. And it's been absolutely amazing. So
Yeah, and you guys jumped right in too, right? Like as soon as you started getting the education, it seemed like you were ready to go. And that's not always the case with my clients. Sometimes they're a little hesitant, especially when they're learning something new. So I guess what was your first impression of the coaching and getting started with the program?
oh, it was awesome. Like I said, we were looking for something that was missing in our financial life. And literally the thing that kind of put us to where we're like, okay, let's just jump in and do this. Cause we were super concerned, or worried, I guess, because we were living basically paycheck to paycheck. Like, how in the world are we gonna go into this TARDIS and be able to pay for it and be able to have that in or that cash flow to put into it? And I mean, it worked out. So somebody told me, in fact, it was my friend, or maybe it was even you, Kimberlee, said, well, you invest in your education. I'm a registered nurse. I invested so much money in my education. Why would I not invest in financial education that we're obviously not getting anywhere else?
Yeah.
And it was a huge change. So it was our education from TARDIS has been amazing. Like, our coaches have all been great. The group coaching calls are amazing. You guys are awesome.
I love to hear that. So, but I think sometimes there's a shift that happens, right? Like a mindset shift when we're starting to learn new concepts. So, what do you think has been your biggest mindset shift since you started TARDIS?
Mostly realizing, because in, like, throughout school and throughout life, we're taught you go to school, you go to college, you get this degree, you work a W-2 job, and that's that. You go to college to get a job that's going to pay you enough money to live.
Right.
And so the mindset shift really came when we started going into our coaching calls and we're like, oh my gosh, there's such a better way to do this than just literally having to work our lives away. Like,
Yeah.
the mindset shift of being able to know that there's a different way to be able to reach financial freedom at a date before my kids even graduate. I've got littles at home, and our financial freedom date is before they even graduate high school. And, like, have that hope and that excitement of being able to do that and enjoy our life rather
Yeah.
than just working our lives away.
Yeah. And then you brought up the littles, right? So sometimes we have to navigate around that, right? Even having the baby or having other
Oh
things.
yeah.
So I guess with intentionality, right? With intention to getting the education and working on your snowball, how did you fit that in?
Lots of late nights. I would literally just plug in, listen to, like, I would put my headphones on and be listening to a webinar from TARDIS or listening to educational videos while I was doing the dishes, or I would put my kid down for a nap and sit down and look at what we needed to do for TARDIS. Or yeah, I mean, you just find a way to put it in. And honestly, it's such, like, once you kind of get into it, it's such a fire.
Yeah.
It's such a fire within you that you're like you almost grasp for that. You're like, okay, I need to know more. I need to know more. I want to know more. So, like, literally every second of every day that you have, like you go for a walk with your littles and you plug in your headphones and listen to a meeting. And you're like, yes, yes, this is it. This is it. I got this.
Right. And then it even transforms, right? Because you're in your second year with your snowball and you're moving things. So even keeping that education, it becomes more of a passive thing because you have the education now, right? You have the system in place. You kind of you're learning more, but would you say it's still passive?
Oh, 1000%. Yes.
Yeah.
Now we kind of sort of not 1000%, but we kind of sort of know what we're looking for and know what we're doing. So
Yeah.
now it's more of like gaining the knowledge to do due diligence on what we can do next. So what we can or where we can put our investments next in order to make our snowball grow faster and stuff like that.
And move it around. So, what would you say is your biggest win so far, just looking at your big financial picture?
We've had lots of wins. It's been awesome. So financially, within that first year, we doubled our cash flow, which I
Yeah.
felt like was super awesome. Also, we paid off all of our credit card debt 100%.
Yep.
So basically debt free, I guess, aside from our house.
Yeah.
And then also we were able to use our income snowball to completely pay for a Disneyland trip for our family at the beginning of this year. So,
I
I mean,
love that.
yeah, just being able to like I've never been able to go on a vacation to where I didn't just put it on a credit card and pay it off over a
Right.
few months. So
Right.
going into that trip with absolutely zero debt on a credit card was just so good.
Uh, See, and these are the stories that I think people need to hear because sometimes we often like there's a trade-off, right? Do I want to save and then kind of be like life poor, not being able to do something, or do I
Yeah,
want to pay debt? But there's a balance because you can make sure you pay off your debt and then also save, but also still live life on your terms, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
been
I
good.
guess if you're thinking about, say, someone's like, "Oh, this is too good to be true," or this is someone that's on the fence that have thought about TARDIS or thought about the investment and moving forward, what would you say to them?
Um, Kind of what I said a little bit earlier, you're investing in your education. Why not invest in education that's going to help you financially in the future?
Yeah.
I mean, my husband and I are not billionaires by any means. Like we work
Mm.
regular jobs, we're regular people. We didn't feel like we had the money to even start investing. And
Yeah.
TARDIS was able to bring that to life for us and able to like shift us to be able to do that. So I guess our biggest advice is I know that it feels like a lot, but it's so worth it. Like
Yeah.
if you just take that leap, and the sooner you do it, like we literally wish that we would have started with TARDIS 10 years before. Like your slide
Yeah.
of we wish we would have started sooner. Had I known that TARDIS was a thing, we probably would have been financially free by now before we're even 30.
Yeah.
But so whatever age you're at, it's never too late to start just jumping into it. Like I know it sounds too good to be true, but that's because it's amazing. So
Right. And I also I love to see everyone in their second year too, because they're almost it's like, hey, now money's exciting to talk about, right? It's now not, I'm not scared of it. I'm not worried about it. I'm looking forward to all the things I can do with my cash flow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like I said, our first year, I felt like our whole first year was based on just really kind of building that snowball, kind of get the process going, learning more than I could ever even imagine to learn about stuff that I know. I can tell you every bone in your body, but anything about investing, I'm like, I don't know.
Right. But
um,
now,
But now in our second year, I feel like we've really started to focus more on incorporating the snowball into our lives rather than it just kind of being a set off to the side. Like we've got these investments and this cash flow growing over here. Now we've really incorporated it by being able to pay for that Disneyland trip, paying all of our credit cards completely off. And we're really seeing how it can come into our lives. And it's been awesome.
yeah. And planning for that too, planning for your future, having an idea of what you're doing and then having the money to support that, right? It really
Yeah.
just makes life a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
1000%.
Awesome. Mackenzie, thank you so much for being on the webinar. I think that having real life, because it's one thing for me to talk on here and talk about how awesome TARDIS is, but my clients show up every day. They do the work and they see the results. So, and it's just been so fun to be on your team. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. You're awesome to
Awesome.
work with.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Then I'm just going to rush through some of the rest of these slides, not rush through, but walk through some of the rest of these slides. And then I will talk to you soon. Okay. So um, it's so nice to be able to hear from some of our clients, and Mackenzie and Craig, and they put in the work and they got the education and they're able to use the system to be able to create their goals in the life that they want to live. So what can your coach help you do? Right? I'm jumping in here. How can my coach help me? First of all, they can increase your cash flow. So if you're looking at your statement, say you're part of our bigger community where right now we're not in a position to have income coming on. You can work with a coach to create some cash flow and then using that cash flow for your strategy to help pay for your assets and liabilities in the future. Your coach is going to also let you know what your investment size should be and the schedule when you should make investments. So you're not wondering, oh, when do I make an investment? How much should I invest? Your coach will also allow you to evaluate and choose investments. So they're going to walk through what an investment is, you should expect it to perform, and what to do if that investment doesn't perform as you expect it to do. Right? With any strategy, we have criteria to support that strategy, and your coach will help you stay accountable to that criteria, to stay accountable to your strategy, and also to create some clear action steps to get to these goals and achieve these action items. Finally, you will be able to understand how to invest, pay off debt at the same time, or even invest in real estate. I have a client who paid off all of his student loan debt in his first year. He was getting married, and his father-in-law was like, I don't want you to marry my daughter with student loan debt. So we came up with a plan to get that paid off. So if you're in a place where you're wondering, I have this money, how can I have it work for me? TARDIS is definitely for you. So what will your personalized plan tell you? When you meet with your wealth coach, they'll talk about what your investment size and amount should be. And then they're going to create a plan in the Income Snowball calculator, the patented Income Snowball calculator, so that you can be sure of your financial freedom date and include all of your living expenses up to that point. Because really, if our passive income covers our monthly living expenses, then at that point, we're financially free. So what's the real cost of waiting? I like to ask these questions because there's never a right time, right? There's never a right time to start to give ourselves a financial education, but I would argue that yesterday is the right time for that. What happens if you continue to put off a financial plan, right? Being aware of your money and intentional with your money is going to be able to help you reach your money goals. What impact does inaction create for your future? How do you envision your finances in 5 years if nothing changes, right? If we're not going to change how we invest, how we have our money work harder for us than we do. I think this is the number one thing. You get up, you go to work every day, you own a business. How can your money work harder than you do so that you can choose to spend your time the way you want to? And then finally, the cost of financial stress, right? Wondering how you're going to pay for things, how you're going to get out of debt. There is a better way, I promise, and TARDIS is the better way. So now what, right? Let's schedule a strategy session. On the next slide, you're going to be able to see a QR code for the strategy session. And that's really just meeting with a coach. They ask you questions about your goals, about your investments, and what you're trying to do. And then they create a personalized plan for you. You also get to work with the coach one-on-one to make sure that you are supported each point of the way in your journey. Okay. So if this sounds like something you're looking for, please just jump on a strategy call. If you are not qualified to become a TARDIS client yet, say you don't have any cash flow available, TARDIS has some free resources available. You can come onto the free coaching monthly webinar that we have, and they can coach you through how to come up with cash flow to become a TARDIS client. Thank you so much for joining me today and being here. This is our first webinar, so we stumbled through it. We got through some of the slides, but mostly I think that Mackenzie sharing her story about how she was able to not only get ahead of our finances, but also start to live the life based on their terms is super exciting. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Yep. And I wanted to say thank you, Mackenzie, as well, for sharing your story and helping build into this community we're trying to put our energy into and building towards financial freedom. We do want to highlight our webinar next month, excuse me. It's going to be featuring Brock from Primerica, and he's going to be sharing strategies for protecting your income and family through term life insurance. So we hope to see you at the next webinar. We hope you have a great rest of your day and you keep your snowball rolling.
All right. Thanks, guys.